Live, News Leader 9 on Fox 54 at 10 starts now.
Good evening. Thank you for watching News Leader 9 on Fox 54. I'm Samantha Serban. Jason and Rosalind have the night off. As many as 215,000 more people than usual died in the U.S. during the first 7 months of 2020, suggesting that the number of lives lost to the coronavirus is significantly higher than the official toll. Half the dead are people of color, blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, and marked degree unrecognized till now, Asian Americans. That's according to an analysis of government data by the Associated Press and the Marshall Project, a nonprofit news organization. And here in Columbus, Mayor Skip Henderson signing an executive order today, making it a requirement to wear a face mask in public to help curb the spread of the coronavirus as they anticipate a second wave coming. It does not include businesses such as restaurants and retail outlets. Folks can go without a mask in parks and on trails when they can maintain their social distancing. They can also avoid wearing the mask or face coverings for reasons of religion, health, an inability to get them on and off, or children under 10 years old. Mayor Henderson says a big reason the mandate is now in place is to control the amount of cases in the future as society starts to resume some normalcy.
Labor Day weekend, then you've got schools will be back in session sometime over the next couple of months. University students are moving back into housing. And, you know, these are the individuals that are typically either asymptomatic or have very, very minimal symptoms. So that's one of the reasons we wanted to try to get this mask ordinance in place so that they would be less likely to spread it elsewhere.
Henderson says although the number of positive COVID cases has been declining over the past 2 weeks, Muskogee County still leads the way for the highest amount of cases and deaths compared to other surrounding counties. And if you've been out and about recently, you may have seen warnings posted on businesses in certain buildings telling you they don't accept responsibility if you get COVID-19 after entering. The signs are popping up even outside of schools, like the one you see here at Columbus Technical College. News Leader 9 asked attorney Gary Bruce if the warnings are legit and what consequences there may be.
I think the sign is really an acknowledgement that you understand there's a potential for a dangerous hazard that can't be completely controlled. You know, and as long as the businesses are doing reasonable steps, I don't think there's going to be liability there anyway. We've heard this kind of fear mongering about lawsuits against every business, but I don't see it happening because, frankly, you can't prove where you got the disease generally.
Bruce says the signs originate from Governor Brian Kemp signing a law called the Georgia COVID-19 Pandemic Business Safety Act. The signs act as the state warnings, which must be posted outside to let people know the risks under the new law. For more information on the coronavirus in your area, you can check out our website at WTVM.com/coronavirus. There you can find the latest numbers and stories. Now turning to elections, Election Day is coming up quick for 7 East Alabama cities. Voters will cast their ballots Tuesday, August 25th. In Smith Station, there are 2 contested races, 3 people running for council position 3, 2 for council position 5. Today, we introduce you to the folks you'll see on the ballot. After 4 terms, 16 years, Smith Station Councilman James Moody is not seeking re-election for his seat, leaving his position up for grabs. Competing to take his chair are Marcus Atkins, Steve Lanston, and William Spear. Let's learn more about each of these men, starting with Atkins. His platform focuses on the children and growing Smith Station into a place for them. When asked why you should vote for him,
I'll just bring my knowledge, my youth, the ability to learn, to be able to lead, and able to direct all at the same time. I come in with an open mind and hearing from this generation and the older generation, and together we're going to be Smith Station United.
Up next is Steve Lanston, a lifelong resident of the city who is sharing 2 goals he has if elected.
Diverse in industry and sewage. If they vote for me, they'll get an honest man, common sense, try to spend their money wisely.
William Spear is the other candidate hoping to take a seat at the council table. As a member of the Zoning Board and Planning Commission, Spear says he is dedicated to his home and ready to serve. Here are a few things he's hoping to do if elected.
See it grow more, and that's not an easy thing to do. Then again, we're growing fast now. We're in a place right now that's the growth obstacles. So, and understand people better. I'm a down-to-earth type person. I can sit and listen to people that has maybe a problem, maybe not a problem, but I like to work with people. I'm very good with that.
Moving on to place 5, Dick Key is choosing not to run again, leaving 2 women to compete for their place on council. Phoenix City native Victoria Green is keeping her fingers crossed for Election Day. A proud Central High grad, Green explains why she wants you to check her name at the ballot box.
I'm energetic, I am loyal, I am enthusiastic, but most importantly, I am ready to listen, I'm ready to lead, and I'm ready to serve you, the citizens of Smith Station.
Her competition is Diane Holman-Stein, who's lived in Smith Station since the early 90s. Her biography states she is employed by the city, serving as an archivist and administrative secretary to the zoning board. Holman-Stein was not able to be reached for an interview. For biographies of all of the candidates, as well as their full interviews, head on over to our website, WTVM.com. Now let's take a look at weather with Chief Meteorologist Derek Kincaid.
Samantha, thanks. Today, not bad on this Friday. High temperatures up in the 80s, a little cooler thanks to clouds and showers in a few spots today, but a lot of us ended up staying mostly dry this afternoon and evening. Tonight, there's still some rain affecting some of our East Alabama communities. Parts of Tallapoosa, Macon, and Bullock counties may be in line to see a little bit of rain in the next hour or so, but just about everybody else dry, and good news for those high school football games tonight. Mostly dry conditions. Right now, 78 in Columbus, 77 in Albany, and 78 over in Montgomery. Early tomorrow morning, we'll wake up to upper 60s and low 70s on Saturday. We're going to tell you more about rain chances through the weekend and a look down in the tropics coming up here in a bit. Back to you.
Thanks, Derek. The COVID-19 pandemic is not stopping some folks from going to college. That's definitely the case here at Columbus State University. News Leader 9 on Fox 54's Naila Spencer spoke with CSU's president, who tells us the school is seeing record enrollment this year. She joins us now in the newsroom with more on the story. Naila, break down the numbers for us and the potential reasons for the jump in the enrollment this year.
Samantha, CSU leaders tell me the school is still in its period to drop and add classes, but they have still seen an increase of more than 500 students compared to last fall. While some college students are debating whether or not to attend classes in person this year, others are enrolling for the first time. Here's what 2 Columbus State University freshmen have to say about their experience so far.
Be around people, even if we got a mask on, it's still nice to socialize and meet new people. Just meet new people and make new friends and stuff, be out in the real world.
According to CSU's president, Chris Markwood, the university is seeing an increase in both graduate and undergraduate students this fall, and the school's rebranding might have something to do with it.
We think students are responding to that. We also think that some students decided to just stay local and to not go to one of the larger institutions, but we're going to work hard to keep them here in Columbus for their entire 4 years.
Markwood says they're excited to see more students enrolling this year, and the unemployment rate might explain why more people are getting their master's degree.
That's not uncommon in times of high unemployment for people to go back and get that other credential. And so we're excited to serve not just the new first-year students, but also the new graduate students at Columbus State University.
And even with the influx of students, the university plans to keep them safe with mask mandates, increased sanitation, and social distancing guidelines. This is why they were able to give an in-person learning experience.
Relief to see instructors in person and our friends, just staying home all the time is rough for an educational experience.
CSU's president says they're also counting on students to be socially distant on the weekends and help keep everyone on and off campus safe. Back to you, Samantha.
Thanks so much, Naila. Education changing every day right now during this pandemic. And in Auburn, the newest class of Auburn Tigers are already getting a taste of the college life. But of course, the freshman experience looks different this year as the pandemic continues. Some students have a mix of virtual and in-person classes. Auburn freshman Maddie Chimino is only attending classes virtually this semester, but Chimino says she hasn't felt any lagging of learning. She says she made the decision to live on campus and decided to go Greek through Zoom. Chimino also says it's nice that teachers are flexible with office hours and meetings. And in Alabama, 4 arrests and 12 citations over a failure to social distance and wear a mask in Tuscaloosa. Dozens of students crowded on streets Sunday. They were waiting to get into bars near the University of Alabama. Photos of students drew criticism on social media. University Athletics Director Greg Byrne accusing the students of not wanting college sports. The site also prompting a Crimson Tide football player to voice his concerns on Twitter about a lack of social distancing. Right now, the University of Alabama plans to play football starting next month. Meanwhile, students are back in the classroom starting Wednesday. And now that Joe Biden has officially accepted the Democratic nomination for president, what's next? We'll hear from the former VP and preview another big political event in the coming days.
Coverage you can count on. This is News Leader 9 at 10 on Fox 54.
The head of the World Health Organization says he hopes to have a COVID-19 vaccine as soon as possible, adding it will be a, quote, vital tool, but there is no guarantee there will even be one.
The country can just ride this out until we have a vaccine. Even if we do have a vaccine, it wouldn't end the pandemic on its own. We must all learn to control and manage this virus using the tools we have now.
For more information, you can protect on how you can protect yourself from COVID-19, you can visit our website, WTVM.com/coronavirus. A new program aims to help farmers who lost thousands of dollars during the pandemic. The Alabama Department of Agriculture and Industries announced $26 million in grants would go towards some farmers and meat processors who faced financial losses. One farmer we talked to said he lost thousands of dollars and plans to apply for the grant.
Being a cattle farmer at the size operation that I have, the debt is substantial, and so anytime that you lose that kind of money, it puts you in a bad position with your lender. And so to be able to receive some funding to help get in a better financial standing is much appreciated.
Applications will be available in the coming days and weeks. And Joe Biden closed out the Democratic National Convention Thursday night, and in accepting his party's presidential nomination, Biden argues he can best lead the nation through the challenges of the present. His speech coming at the end of the 4-day virtual convention, and states his plan to fight COVID-19. Take a listen.
If I'm your president, on day one, we'll implement the national strategy I've been laying out since March. We'll develop and deploy rapid tests with results available immediately. We'll make the medical supplies and protective equipment that our country needs, and we'll make them here in America, so we will never again be at the mercy of China or other foreign countries in order to protect our own people.
Next up is the Republican National Convention next week, Monday through Thursday, ending with President Trump planning to deliver his nomination acceptance speech from the South Lawn of the White House. Now let's head on over to Chief Meteorologist Derek Kincaid.
Sam, thanks. Hey, out there tonight, not too bad, but let's take a sneak peek at tomorrow. Showers and storms could pop up again in the afternoon and evening for some. We'll have details and a look down at the tropics coming up in that forecast.
Now, from your Storm Team 9 Alert Center, WTVM Chief Meteorologist Derek Kincaid.
The weekend now almost here, and we've got a decent forecast for you on Saturday and Sunday. Coverage of rain about 40% both days, mainly in the afternoon and evening. So again, most of us will end up staying dry. High temperatures, upper 80s, low 90s, and there will be time to get out and about and get some things done this weekend, but you still might have to dodge a few showers and storms. The next big part of our forecast, what's going on down in the tropics. Watching the Gulf for next week and how that will lead to an uncertain extended forecast for us. Lots of questions, in fact, more questions than answers when it comes to what will happen next week. But let's talk about the tropics first. Two storms, Laura here, a tropical depression that is expected to become Marco over here, and both of them will be moving into the Gulf of Mexico over the course of the next few days. Now let's zoom in the tracks here. You can actually see where those cones of concern happen to be, stretching anywhere from around Panama City back to New Orleans, and then really back all the way down to the Texas coast when you count in the other storm there. The big question is, how do these storms interact with each other when they get into the Gulf? What if Laura moves over land, moves over some of the islands of the Caribbean? Will it be as strong? There are, again, lots of questions, and once we have the answers to those, we can figure out where these things are heading once they move inland. But it does appear that both storms will make landfall on the northern Gulf Coast at some point next week. Now, closer to home tonight, the weather pretty good. A few showers starting to pop now over in East Alabama, Chambers County, back over toward Tallapoosa County. And then notice in the Montgomery area, they're dealing with some pretty strong storms rumbling through. This is what we're watching for you. Rain's been increasing in coverage across South Alabama, and we're going to see if any of that's going to lift up in our direction. Perhaps, again, our East Alabama counties at some point, even during the overnight hours tonight. We can't rule out at least some rain, and that coverage could be with us at times on Saturday and Sunday, dropping a little bit by Monday. And then I think next week, Wednesday would be the day that we could start to see some impacts from those tropical systems that might carry over into Thursday and Friday too. Once again, there are just more questions than answers when it comes to what's going on down there. Right now, our temperatures in the 70s, 78 Columbus, Richland 73, and Auburn at 76. The warm spot Tuskegee at 81. For tonight, we'll look for the upper 60s in our northern counties, a few low 70s in the mix too, with skies partly to mostly cloudy. Still a bit on the muggy side for the overnight hours too. Maybe not quite as muggy as it has been. And certainly if those tropical systems head up in here, the mugginess will be increasing across the deep south. For tomorrow, breakdown of the day looks like this. Early in the morning, we're talking 70s. Skies cloud up through the afternoon. Then we'll see the showers and storms getting going. Upper 80s, maybe a few low 90s for those afternoon highs on Saturday. And remember, the rain coverage about 40% tomorrow and Sunday, a little less for Monday, and our highs very near the 90-degree mark for the next few days. But next week, if we get the clouds in here from those tropical systems, highs could be significantly lower than that. Rain chances could be significantly higher. But once again, that's going to depend on the ultimate track of Laura and what could be Marco. We're going to have more news for you when the news at 10 continues right after the break.
Officials at Syracuse University are taking action against students who they say broke rules regarding COVID-19. The university just handed down interim suspensions to 23 students who were part of a large gathering on campus. Physics professor Walter Freeman says he witnessed the gathering.
It was a lot of students making a rapid exit, and when they had left, there were 5 or 6 DPS officers there. They were the community service officers rather than the peace officers. And it was pretty clear that they had dispersed the group of students saying, hey, y'all really shouldn't be here.
School officials hope the suspensions serve as a deterrent for future gatherings on campus. And the head of the United States Postal Service under scrutiny today on Capitol Hill. Postmaster General Louis DeJoy, a Trump donor, faced questions over policy changes some postal workers and Democrats worry were designed to slow mail delivery as the agency prepares to manage a flood of mail-in election ballots this fall. Whitney Wild brings us the latest from Washington.
During a hearing with U.S. lawmakers, Postmaster General and President Trump ally Louis DeJoy testified the U.S. Postal Service can manage a wave of mail-in ballots this fall.
I want to assure this committee and the American public that the Postal Service is fully capable and committed to delivering the nation's election mail securely and on time.
DeJoy faced harsh criticism after details emerged of major changes to the Postal Service, such as removing high-speed sorting machines and collection boxes and no longer prioritizing election mail. While the Postmaster General said this week the changes would be suspended, Democrats and others fear the new policies were designed to slow vote by mail, as the president has repeatedly and falsely claimed the process is rife with fraud.
There has been no changes in any policies with regard to election mail.
Will you commit there will be no post office closures or suspensions before November 3rd?
I confirm post office closures was not a directive I gave. That was around before I got it. I've suspended that until after the election.
Also under the microscope, a meeting between the president and DeJoy after DeJoy's appointment to lead the USPS in May. DeJoy insists they never addressed changes to the agency.
I have never spoken to the president about the Postal Service other than to congratulate me when I accepted the position.
In Washington, I'm Whitney Wild reporting.
And when we come back, grab a mask if you're going to be out in public. The latest on a new mask mandate will tell you where a face covering is now required.
you can count on. This is News Leader 9 at 10 on Fox 54.
Good evening. Thank you for watching News Leader 9 on Fox 54. I'm Samantha Serbin. Jason and Rosalind have the night off. And we're starting tonight with our weather. Chief Meteorologist Derek Kincaid joins us with the latest. Hey, Derek.
Samantha, hey, yeah, you know, the weekend now almost here, and if you're on the go, grab that WTVN weather app to be able to track any rain or storms that may happen to pop up and try to spoil any of those weekend plans you might have. On the app tonight, we got a video update. Had one posted earlier today, right before those high school football games kicked off, with a detailed outlook. And look for those on Friday nights. If you're attending a game, I promise you, we're going to have you covered there on the app with that specific forecast for where you happen to be. Tonight on the Radar Network, not a lot happening close to home, but there are some showers and storms starting to build in parts of West and South Alabama. You'll also notice that little circle there on the screen. That's the cone of one of those tropical systems to the south. You can view those right here on the app. And remember, you're going to get those the same time we do here in the weather office if you're keeping tabs on the WTVN weather app. And we'll talk a bit more about your weekend and next week, too, here in a little bit, Samantha.
Thanks so much, Derek. Now turning to the coronavirus in Muskogee County, where a number of cases have continued to spike since 2 weeks ago. Positive cases now stand at 5,231. Just over 2 weeks, nearly 700 people have now tested positive. Deaths are now up to 117 in the county. Statewide cases have risen over 40,000 since 2 weeks ago. Now they stand at 249,630.
We do know that numbers have trended down a little bit, but as I said, we're still adding 300 new cases a week, and that's just too high. So we're gonna make sure that we have everything that we can put in place to try to make sure that the people of this community are safe.
That was Columbus Mayor Skip Henderson talking about his newest executive order. If you are headed out into the public anytime soon, be sure to grab a face mask, because as of today, they're now required in Muskogee County. News Leader 9 Cindy Santafanti brings us the residents' thoughts on this new mask mandate.
The new mask mandate will require all citizens of Muskogee County to wear a face covering when out in public places near other people and in government buildings. Kelvin Thomas says he and his son both have asthma, and he refuses to wear a mask, not only for health reasons, but also because he feels it's infringing upon his rights.
The First Amendment says you're not supposed, they're not allowed to justify how you react to your own health and integrity. It goes against your liberty.
According to Columbus Mayor Skip Henderson, the mask mandate is meant to help curb the spread of the coronavirus. It will be enforced by law enforcement, and violators could be dinged with a $50 fee. But Lee Metz says she agrees with the mandate wholeheartedly after losing her loved ones due to the virus.
Once you have someone that you actually know go through it, I think you'll change your mind about the mask.
There are exceptions to the mandate for people to not wear a mask when out in public for reasons of religion, health, or an inability to get them on and off, and for children 10 years or younger. Josiah Blanchard says he prefers to not wear a mask, but with the mandate, he says he will do it anyways for the courtesy of other people.
If wearing a mask makes you feel safe, then I don't see why anybody couldn't do that, you know?
Kate Champion says he fully supports the mandate.
Just like a seatbelt. I mean, people get ticketed for that all the time, and it's just not that much of an issue to put one on to begin with. It's not so much for my safety. I mean, the point of a mask is to not spread the disease, and if I can take a small step like this to not spread the disease, I would do that happily.
That was our Cindy Santafanti reporting. City Council members will discuss the details about how the mandate will be enforced at their next meeting scheduled for Tuesday. Some folks are still pursuing higher education learning during the coronavirus pandemic. We talked to CSU's president, who tells us the school is seeing a record enrollment this year. Our Naila Spencer joins us in the newsroom with more on the story. Naila, break down the numbers for us and the potential reasons for the jump in the enrollment.
Samantha, CSU leaders tell me the school is still in its period to drop and add classes, but they have seen an increase of more than 500 students compared to how many they had in the fall. The university is not only seeing an increase in enrollment for undergraduate students, they're also seeing more people looking to get their masters. CSU's president says the unemployment rate might explain why more people are pursuing graduate degrees.
We think students are responding to that. We also think that some students decided to just stay local and to not go to one of the larger institutions. But we're going to work hard to keep them here in Columbus for their entire 4 years.
Even with the influx of students, the university plans to keep them safe with mask mandates, increased sanitation, and social distancing guidelines. This is why they were able to give an in-person learning experience. CSU's president says they're also counting on students to be socially distant on the weekends and help keep everyone on and off campus safe. Back to you, Samantha.
Thanks so much, Naila, live in the newsroom. And in Alabama, 4 arrests and 12 citations over a failure to socially distance themselves and wear masks in Tuscaloosa. Dozens of students crowded streets Sunday. They were waiting to get into bars near the University of Alabama. Photos of students drew criticism on social media. University Athletics Director Greg Byrne accusing the students of not wanting college sports. The site also prompting a Crimson Tide football player to voice his concerns on Twitter about a lack of social distancing. Right now, the University of Alabama plans to play football starting next month. Meanwhile, students are back in the classroom starting Wednesday. And the Alabama Department of Education has purchased more personal protective equipment for schools. There are masks, face shields, and enough thermometers to send 8 to every school. State Superintendent Dr. Eric Mackey hopes it gives parents confidence that schools are doing all they can to protect their children.
Well, we want to protect the health of our students and faculty and staff first and foremost. This is the second step of this. Earlier in the summer, we ordered 2.5 million cotton masks that are for students and also for staff, and those are being shipped also directly to school systems.
The State Department says they used money from coronavirus relief funds to purchase the supplies. And Alabama's unemployment rate rose slightly in July as the state continues to feel the economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Those numbers released today. The Alabama Department of Labor reported that the state's preliminary July unemployment rate is 7.9% up from June's rate of 7.6%. The number represents more than 176,000 people unemployed. Alabama Labor Secretary Fitzgerald Washington says the economy is recovering, but the state will continue to have fluctuations as they continue to learn how to navigate in this new pandemic-related reality. And a sad day for law enforcement. Funeral services are being held today for Harris County Deputy 54-year-old Stephen Dutton, who died from complications brought on by the coronavirus. He served the community as a Harris County deputy for many years. Law enforcement officers from Harris County traveled in a convoy from Harris County to Columbus with blue lights flashing. They filled the parking lot of Striffler-Hamby Mortuary on Macon Road today to pay tribute to Deputy Dutton. Our thoughts are with that whole law enforcement family tonight. And in Columbus, Fire and Emergency Medical Services are celebrating the graduation of the training division's latest paramedics. The graduating class consisted of 11 students from Columbus Fire and EMS and 6 private individuals who went through the 13-month program. The students are now certified paramedics. EMS program director says completing the test is not only an achievement, but a huge step for their career.
This is no small undertaking. Going through the paramedic curriculum and paramedic training is a lot of responsibility. These men and women, this was not a requirement of their job. They did it because they wanted to improve their techniques. They wanted to improve their level of certification and be more of an asset for our community.
Certified paramedics are the highest level of emergency medical training. This graduating class will help provide the best possible service to citizens in their time of need. And a fundraising effort is underway to help a Montgomery police officer critically injured in an on-duty crash in 2017. A virtual van-a-thon fundraiser kicked off today for Carlos Taylor. Money raised will help buy a wheelchair-compatible van for the Taylor family.
So we decided we would start a campaign, try to raise some money, and we came up with a virtual van-a-thon based on the COVID situation where people could give to this fundraiser for the family.
My whole point is for no one to ever forget. I want people to remember him. I want him to not be forgotten because he was a wonderful, wonderful officer.
The goal is to raise $65,000. Wow. And it's Friday night, and that means high school football. Dave has your highlights. Sports is next.
Now, from your Storm Team 9 Alert Center, WTVM Chief Meteorologist Derek Kincaid.
The weekend now not too far away. Your Saturday and Sunday looking like this. Highs upper 80s, low 90s. Rain coverage about the same both days. We'll say 30 to 50% for both weekend days, meaning there's going to be a chance for you to be able to get outside and get some things done for sure if you have any plans this weekend. Fish and game activity looks like this. Peaks up into the excellent range there, 5:20 a.m., then getting close there to about 5:20 p.m. How does the weather look for us tomorrow, though? Let's take a look. Early in the day, we're down in the 70s. Might deal with some patchy fog in spots early tomorrow, but I think the chance of rain in the morning fairly low. Now, going into the afternoon, going into the evening, notice again the coverage comes up as it often does this time of year, but with enough sunshine around, we might be able to push those highs close to the 90-degree mark tomorrow. Your sunset time, by the way, now 8:16 p.m. Eastern time. The days are gradually growing shorter. We're dealing with, again, two tropical systems in the Atlantic right now. One is Laura, has a tropical storm. It is expected to strengthen into a hurricane once it gets into the Gulf. But look, here's the deal. If Laura moves over these islands here, Dominican Republic, Haiti, Cuba, it's not going to strengthen much at all and may not even make it into the Gulf. We hope that's the scenario. We hope that's the case. Then we've got another one out here. This should become Marco soon. This looks to get into the Gulf and potentially impact Texas or Louisiana as a tropical storm or hurricane next week. Now, I think the big question is if both of these systems do make it to the Gulf, that's when some interesting things could happen. Will one feed off of the other? Will one move in a different way because of the other system? There's a lot of questions, I think, when it comes to that. Still, local impacts probably wouldn't be felt until sometime Wednesday into Thursday from these systems, maybe even lasting a bit longer than that. Tonight on the radar network, a lot of us are dry, but notice the showers have started to pop up now in East Alabama. A little boundary right there, helping to lift up some of that warm, moist air in places like Chambers County and Tallapoosa County. So we'll keep our eye out here. Some storms not out of the question over the next few hours over in places like East Alabama. And again, some of those showers might even work their way in here overnight or even very early tomorrow morning. We'll show you the high-res futurecast, and that is the case here. It shows some of those showers perhaps lingering into early Saturday morning. This is 7 o'clock in the morning. Notice areas south of Columbus might have a little rain. Then I think a period of time where we're going to be fairly dry. Then we could see another round or two of storms in the afternoon and evening. But note the coverage. It's not going to be a widespread type problem for us on Saturday. And then we're going to deal with this again on Sunday. More showers and more thunderstorms popping up in the afternoon and evening. Our temperatures right now in the 70s. It's still on the mild side of things. 76 in Americus, Columbus at 78 and 76 over in Auburn. We'll be in the 70s waking up tomorrow in most spots. Maybe a few 60s out there. But next week's forecast starting Tuesday into Wednesday and beyond. Take that with a grain of salt. Again, that's going to depend on where these tropical systems are heading and what kind of inland impacts we'll see in our neck of the woods.
Now from Fox 54 Sports, Dave Plata.
It's week one of the high school football season. Time to hit the gridiron for tonight's big ball games. A taste of what's coming up later on Sports Overtime. We'll go to Garrett Harrison Stadium in Phoenix City. Central hosting Hoover. The Red Devils literally doing backflips at the prospect of taking on the Buccaneers. First quarter, it's the quarterback draw. Caleb Nix working it perfectly. Untouched, 18 yards for the score, and it is 14-0 Central. Well, here comes Hoover. Second quarter, Josh Lundy, Joseph Buffett. He hauls it in and stays inbounds, a 22-yard score to make it 14-all. Under 2 minutes to go in the half. Central in the 30. Nix the screen to Jackson Meeks, who breaks free and turns it into his third score of the night. Devils up 28-21 at the half. In the second half, here comes Hoover. Amari Williams in the 1-yard touchdown run, and that gives the Buccaneers a 35-28 lead. Central responding, driving. Nix back to pass, finding Jackson Meeks again. Meeks breaks away, breaks the tackle. Watch him point at the defensive back. Bad move. That's not a touchdown. It gets called back for taunting, and Central has to try it again. Nix into the end zone, looking for and finding, no. He does not find, he finds Jason Riles. Riles returning it back close toward midfield. Hoover still leads this thing 35-28, the ball game in the fourth quarter. All right, who's going to get the 2020 season off to a good start? Beauregard Hornets or the Valley Rams? First time for Valley goes in favor of Beauregard. Will Kennedy in trouble, throwing it up for grabs. Almost intercepted by Matthew Patway. Rams 3 and out. They get it together next drive. Josh Heath making some moves, getting free, 36 yards, Rams taking a 7-0 lead. Next possession for Beauregard. It's a Darrell Lewis rolling out, looking, throwing. He is picked up by Jacquez Trammell, who takes it back for the pick six touchdown to make it 14-zip Rams. Next drive for the Hornets, they are forced to punt. And Quindorius Story coming out in with the block. Cornelius Thomas grabs it, taking it on in for the touchdown. Valley goes on to beat Beauregard tonight. We're going to have a complete wrap-up, highlights, scores, and more in Sports Overtime in about 30 minutes on WTVM Sports Leader 9. Finally, the Braves opening a 3-game weekend series in Philadelphia tonight, down 1-0, bottom of the third. Travis d'Arnaud fixes that one with one swing, a splash shot to center, a 2-run homer that makes it 2-1 Braves. Next batter is Marcell Ozuna, who says, hey, I can do that too. He does. Cross to center field, and what do you know? Another splash shot. It's been all Braves tonight. They lead this one 11-1. The game is in the bottom of the 6th inning. That's a look at sports.
Thanks so much, Dave. The CDC reveals new information on COVID-19 for next week. Coming up, we'll have those details. We'll be right back. Deaths from the coronavirus can go down next week. That is what CDC Director Robert Redfield says. Public health officials want people to still practice coronavirus safety procedures, especially with the flu right around the corner. So far, more than 170,000 people have died from the coronavirus in the U.S.
We have flu causing its problems, and we have COVID causing its problems, and they build on each other. We could end up with another loss of significant life.
So keep wearing your mask and practice social distancing. Health officials warn that the pandemic and flu season can strain hospital systems. Any pharmacist in the country can now vaccinate your child as approved by officials, specifically children and teens ages 3 to 18. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services says with pharmacists giving the vaccines, they can help in efforts to prevent outbreaks of diseases such as the measles. State licensed pharmacists need to do a training program before giving the vaccines. And a new study reveals how many Americans are having good savings. The question is, how are they doing it? Details ahead. 21% of Americans currently do not have any money saved in case of an emergency. That's what a study by Bankrate.com says. 21% is the lowest number in 10 years. They believe more people saved because of stimulus checks and federal unemployment benefits. However, 35% of people have less emergency savings now than before the pandemic, and it wouldn't be enough to cover 3 months worth of expenses. And Tesla is asking the FDA for permission for a device that helps prevent children from being left in hot cars and boost theft prevention systems. It would use unlicensed millimeter wave sensors with higher power levels than the ones at the moment. It can, quote, see through soft materials such as a blanket covering a child and a child car restraint and differentiate between a child and an object left on the seat, reducing the likelihood of false alarms, end quote. And Lay's is releasing new flavors that will surprise many fans, but how can you get a hold of them? That's coming up after the break. Lay's is bringing your dream vacation to your taste buds. Yes, you heard that right. Lay's is releasing flavors from different countries, such as Greece, Mexico, and Thailand. However, you can't find them at any store. You have to enter their social media contest and reply to them with a country you'd most like to visit. From there, they'll choose a lucky winner. Derek, any of those sound good to you?
I'm reading the flavors here. It looks like Thailand and Mexico. I'll be all about. Why not?
Okay.
Let's talk some weather. Your forecast now tomorrow and Sunday too, featuring that 40% coverage of showers and thunderstorms. Pretty average summer days coming our way. Highs in the upper 80s, low 90s for you. Maybe a little less rain around on Monday, but then watch out next week. We're watching the Gulf, those tropical systems. What they may do will have a huge impact on what the forecast for us is going to be starting Wednesday and heading all the way perhaps even into early next weekend. So we'll keep an eye on that. And on the news at 11, we'll have the latest tracks from the National Hurricane Center. That's come down, so we'll have that for you in the next half hour on the other show.
All right, thanks so much, Derek. And thanks for watching News Leader 9 on Fox 54 tonight. And stay tuned for our news at 11 on our sister station, WTVM. Have the first sports overtime this week, Derek.
Very excited.